All right, welcome back. Now we continue with more news. In fact, we're looking at, as we enter holiday season, summer season is near. Travel should be a joy, not a financial risk. And as cyber threats escalate, staying safe online requires proactive defense. This equips you with essential knowledge to outsmart scammers and to safeguard your data, as well to ensure that your trip remains stress-free and enjoyable at large. Now, scammers exploit vulnerabilities, turning your travel dreams into financial disasters. So to discover the expert strategies to shield yourself from phishing attacks and travel with peace of mind, we're going to be joined by Lucas Molefe, a Cybersecurity Consultant. Lucas, thanks for your time on the SABC at this hour.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
I mean, common types of travel scams. Talk to us about that. How does one actually spot these travel scams?
Now, the easiest way to look at these travel scams is where they focus a lot on your phishing, right? They usually send you an email of which they try and get your personal information, right? Now, this is a main focus what they try and do, which is the most sophisticated phishing scam there is. But there is ways to actually pick it up and say, okay, how do I actually see this? They would often require personal information, and you would often see spelling mistakes, whether it would be your name, surname, whatever the case may be. And usually we look at what we call domain names, right? In a case that is an email legitimate or whatever the case may be. Other scams that they also do is acting as a legitimate website. Now, you think you're going to the proper website, not knowing that it's a mimic of the actual original website.
No, absolutely. And perhaps just looking at that social engineering tactics that are used to target travelers, you're speaking about, some of those red flags to pick up on, including the requesting of personal information, spelling mistakes, domain links as well. I wonder, when you're booking online, what should travelers be looking out for? Perhaps also wanting, proof of payments, confirmations from hotels, airlines, etc. Talk to us about the checklist for that.
Now, very important is that to never click on links or download attachments that are from suspicious emails, right? And it's very important, if you are booking anything online, double check that the actual platform is a protected platform. Usually you would see what we call a lock on your top right corner, right? Top left corner. Okay. That's where you would see that this website I'm going to is a legitimate and a secure network or a secure website. Now, very important, if someone asks you whether it's proof of payment or you're sending payments or whatever the case may be via email, make sure you contact the organization directly, in a sense that, let's say you're using bookings.com, contact them, find out, is this a legitimate email from them, right? Yes. Also, not only that, if you know that this information is actually personal information that I cannot just share with anybody, then you do not share those information, right? Because many organizations won't directly and saying, hey, Lisa, I need your password or I need your email address and your date of birth. They won't just randomly ask you those information. So it's very important to check those things, right?
Yes.
And while you're doing that, make sure that your Wi-Fi connectivity is not a free Wi-Fi.
No, Lucas, those are pertinent points. Perhaps also looking at paying on site if you are making bookings through, various websites. I know that there is some leeway in terms of time that one can use. Perhaps protecting ourselves then from phishing attacks as well. What are some of the more effective methods for encrypting such sensitive information at large?
So very important is to use a strong password, unique password. Many people would use a password 123 or their name, the children's name, whereas that's why we have what we call password managers, and to keep unique passwords, long passwords. And not only that, many websites or even platforms have what we call two-factor authentication. So even if your password might actually be not a unique or strong password, but the two-factor authentication will be used to authenticate and to prove that you actually are the right person, right? And very important is to avoid, like I mentioned, Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fis. But another thing, let's say you don't have any other access but the public Wi-Fi. That's what we call, then you need to use what we call a VPN, virtual private network, where this will actually divert them from actually picking up your details or whatever the case may be, right? And also very important, whenever you work with your financial information, like you said, Lisa, rather do it on site if you know that you don't have any other protection, right? And it's very important to use an antivirus, right? In this world that we are living in, everything is online, everything is used online. So it's better to be protected, even if you're not looking at having what we call booking your traveling arrangements online.
No, absolutely. And perhaps also, if the price seems a little too good to be true, it might also be a red flag at large. But now I actually want to look at those whose security have been breached, cybersecurity have been breached. What are those, what are some of the avenues that they can explore? Perhaps also travelers minimizing financial losses due to that breach. What goes into that process if it has happened?
What goes into that process is financial implications that would affect you, right? They also what we call identity theft, because remember, if there's a data breach, all the information they actually have, right? Now, in this case, it's very important whether, if let's say there's a data breach on one of the websites that you're using to travel, be assured that your information is either lost or gone or taken, which you need to then change your credit cards, change your go and look at your details, and you can also find out from the actual institution itself, because many of the times they have what we call a cybersecurity awareness website link or whatever the case may be, or department. These are the things that you need to look at as well, right? But very things that for sure that will be implicated is your identity, finances, and these two things. With these two things, if people have these things, then definitely know that you are in for some danger or unexpected financial losses.
And if people want to also find out more information, perhaps online, where do you reckon they go? I'm also just looking at alerting your bank at large in terms of limits, in terms of the amount of time that you're going to be going away, etc. That emergency line. What goes into that? Just perhaps as we wrap up this conversation.
Now, what you need to do then is, what you can do to remain safe is use also the proper travel applications, right? And with that being said, if you know what you're traveling, another thing, Lisa, what happens is that people get excited when they're about to travel and share their information with everyone. It's rather best share information with the people that are relevant and needs to know where your whereabouts. And like you mentioned, when you're about to travel, going to a bank, banks usually ask you how long you'll travel, and you'll get actually what we call a travel amount, where you actually have a separate account for your traveling arrangements, whether you're going to a European country or whatever the case may be. So those things are very important to instill and to have. And very important, don't be overconfident when it comes to cybersecurity, because when you think you know it all, and the fact that you think you know it all, you miss the red flags that can actually implicate you financially or implicate your identity.
No, absolutely. Lucas, thank you. There's emotional and psychological responses and issues that come as a result of pre-booking, booking, and actually going on holiday, which should be a relaxing time, but obviously mitigating against these cybersecurity crimes is definitely something to look out for. Thank you for joining us bright and early and for chatting to that. Lucas Molefe, Cybersecurity Consultant, helping us to become aware about some of the introspective measures that need to happen, technology and crime coming to the fore, perhaps as we also move forward. Remember that cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. Again, thank you to him for joining us at this hour.